Joining me now is Chris Pennimpede. He is the president and CEO at Canterra Minerals. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
My pleasure, Mark. Good to see you.
So could you start with a table setter for us and for our viewers and investors on the company's projects in Newfoundland?
Yeah, absolutely. So we here at Canterra Minerals have consolidated the entire central Newfoundland mining district. And what that means practically is all the known deposits outside of Calibre Mining's new Valentine gold mine. And so it encompasses 7 resource stage critical minerals deposits, including the past producing Buckins mine, which is the largest of the deposits. So it's taken us 5 years to consolidate all of these resources. And now we're really in the exploration and growth stage where we're starting to drill and add tons to the resource base, where we're already the second largest critical minerals resource base on the island. And we're hoping to pave the path here in 2025 to become the largest. And so that's really our focus here in 2025.
Chris, you mentioned Buckins previously producing from 1935 to 1981. The team has just started fairly recently phase 1 drilling. And you've said that the property is still underexplored. And you're also bringing modern technology to what you're doing. So can you elaborate on the focus of the Buckins program right now?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. And so we announced earlier this week that we're embarking on phase 1 drilling, and that's really building off our 2024 maiden drill campaign at this former Tier 1 mine, where we went in and showed the existing resource base can grow, and that given this was a mine from 1935 to, as you said, the 80s, the grades there are high grade by today's standard. And so what we're focusing on is those areas that are outside the mine trend that, Asarco, the operator, was focused on just chasing using low technology, high grade ore shoots and mining them basically as they went, all from underground. So we're starting at the surface and looking near mine and then expanding out to the areas that didn't see exploration, with the idea being that, we're exploring in the shadow of the head frame, and there's certainly probably overlooked resources yet to be found on the project, given they were so focused on the mine trend for those decades of mining that this project saw. And so, we're phase 1 is 2,000 meters, but we're budgeted for 10,000 meters this year. And so that's fully funded. And on the technology side, we very early identified that this was a big data project. There's almost 100 years of data that came with this project, including the mine data and then all the exploration. And so we've really set out to mine that data. And so we've engaged Verify AI, and using their proprietary algorithms have identified new targets that were never looked at by past operators to go and look for, undercover, high-grade Buckin-style deposits. And so that's been really exciting to really see that the value here is really in the data that's been generated, and then mining that data to focus our exploration efforts. And so that, in conjunction with some modern geophysics that we embarked on here in Q1, really will set the stage for a catalyst-rich 2025, where we're going to be drilling new targets and hopefully making new discoveries.
All right, very good. So that's Buckins, and then another project, Lamarant. Maybe you could correct me on the pronunciation there, but a maiden drill program was completed by the team. So what are the next steps there?
Yeah, Lamarant is, I think I don't know, it seems to go either way with how people pronounce it, but that's a smaller VMS deposit. So really Buckins is the linchpin for the district. If we're successful in making a big discovery there, then Lamarant, Boomerang, and the other 7 total deposits really can come into play with being like satellite deposits that would feed into a big Buckins discovery and subsequent development. So the challenge / opportunity with Lamarant, Boomerang, and others is they're very close to the most recent critical minerals mine in the central Newfoundland mine district, and that's the Tex Duck Pond mine, shuttered in 2015. And so Lamarant is 3 million tons, where Duck Pond was 5 million tons. And so the maiden drill program there really focused on paving the path to try to grow it from 3 million to 5. And we were successful in showing there's incremental growth to the resource. And so going forward, we'll continue to slowly pick away at Lamarant and Boomerang to see if they can, in fact, become the next Duck Pond. But for 2025, the focus really is at Buckins, as we think that's where there's the best chance for a tier 1 discovery to be made in line with sort of the grades that ASARCO and previous operators mined out of this prolific mine.
Now you're operating in it's becoming prolific, Newfoundland, and becoming quite exciting. You touched on Calibre Mining, it's Valentine Lake, but you have something like about 60 kilometers of property running northwest from Valentine Lake. So that sounds like a very exciting prospect. Can you flesh that out a bit for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually where Canterra started in 2020 with the gold ground adjoining what was then Marathon, and then subsequently Calibre bought it. And so, yes, we have 60 kilometers of the continuation of that same structure called the Valentine Lake Shear Zone that hosts all 5 million ounces and counting of their resource base. And it's the same structure further south that hosts another 600,000 ounces at Omega Metals Cape Ray deposits. And so we've really taken, like, the last couple of years for a more wait and see approach, where Calibre was going to, embark on the largest exploration program that project's ever seen, and really utilize some new exploration techniques to see through cover, because the cover is really challenging in this part of central Newfoundland. And so we kind of need a tool to help us see through that, to really, I think, move our 60 kilometers of the gold ground forward. And so now that they've finished that program, we've exchanged notes. And I think, listeners, viewers, and our shareholders will see in the coming months, we'll flesh out a plan to start moving the gold projects forward in the right way. So, we let people with deeper pockets spend the money in testing out concepts, and then we take what works and then we're going to apply it to our 60 kilometers of the shear zone. So it should be really exciting once we develop an exploration concept for our 60 kilometers of that gold bearing structure, to then go out and actually put that plan into action here in 2025. So stay tuned on that front.
Right, something to look forward to for shareholders and potential shareholders for sure, and the company itself. Now, on the financial side, Canterra recently raised about 4.6 million. Two-part question: were you impressed by the demand that you saw from investors, and also how would you characterize the cash position right now?
The demand was, critical minerals, and especially critical minerals flow through. Isn't hard to raise. What's hard to raise for all junior explorers still is the hard dollar component. And so I haven't seen that change appreciably, but it was a nice surprise that, that we were able to get that financing done. And certainly our first drill results from Buckins really anchored that raise. Anytime you report 100 meters of 1.5% copper equivalent, that gets people's attention. And that was the first public drill results from this project in decades. So that helped us, and certainly it was good to get that support with 4.6 million. And so right now we're at approximately 4 million. We're actively running that geophysics survey on Buckins and drilling, so that's being depleted. But we'll be good for 2025 for 10,000 meters of drilling and all the supplementary exploration work that goes along with that.
Now, Chris, one of the company's largest shareholders is Michael Gentile from Bastion Asset. He's very familiar to Red Cloud viewers. We've interviewed him several times. We've done fireside chats with him as well. He says that, and he calls Newfoundland kind of like Quebec about 50 years ago. So would you agree with that? And if so, what is it about Newfoundland that makes it such a compelling jurisdiction at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's a very good comparison. Quebec had a lot of historic small mining operations, much of them underground. And now it's going through sort of a new age where all of those former mines that people are going back to and making new discoveries and tier 1 deposits, even with like Malartic and Sigla-Lamaque. And so Newfoundland's very much, I would say, in the same boat. So that analogy is correct, where it was sort of like the forgotten province, or I guess island in this case, where modern exploration didn't seem to touch much, in the 90s and 2000s up to present day. We were all focused Nunavut, Yukon, Quebec, Labrador. And so now all the former mines, including Buckins and some new discoveries with Calibre, is drawing new attention to the untapped potential of the island. And like Yukon and Nunavut, it's challenged by cover, which is probably why it hadn't seen so much systematic exploration, as it's quite challenging to see through that cover. But with new exploration techniques, we've got a lot better at sciencing our way through that cover now. And so I think you're seeing now, the discovery rate increase, and I expect that to continue. And it's such a great place to work in terms of the permitting regime and stakeholder relations, that it's so much easier compared to the rest of Canada. The only nearest comparable is, as Michael Gentile says, Quebec, in terms of getting work done and ultimately developing a mine.
Now, speaking of Michael Gentile, lastly here, Chris, he has called Canterra Minerals a table pounder, says it's very undervalued and being overlooked by the market. So with that as the backdrop, can you give us your investment pitch, your elevator pitch in terms of the overall investment case for Canterra?
Absolutely. Canterra's we're the second largest critical minerals explorer with 26 million tons already to our name, and we're just a 28 million market cap. The first largest critical minerals explorer on the island is Firefly Metals, which commands a 500 million market cap. And I think what we've shown at the end of 2024 and what we'll continue to show in 2025 is that we're high grade and growing. So, we've demonstrated high grades with our maiden drill program, and we're the lowest costs, all-in drill costs in Canada. And so expect us to become the largest critical minerals explorer on the island of Newfoundland. And hopefully we'll see our market cap re-rate significantly to that of our peers, which is several times our current market cap. And we have a catalyst-rich 2025, which will feature 10,000 meters of drilling. So there'll be drill news flow starting in mid-April all the way throughout the year. And so expect high-grade results to continue from this former Tier 1 mine.
Well, Chris, thank you for all the information and encapsulating the Canterra Minerals story. We'll be watching, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Mark. Have a great day.
Chris Pennimpede, he's president and CEO at Canterra Minerals. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.